So what makes Aajonus Vonderplanitz so attractive? Welcome back to LookLogix. Today I'll be assessing Aajonus Vonderplanitz's facial attractiveness. So if you don't know who this gentleman is, he's contributed a lot to the raw primal area, and he's gotten quite popular and viral right now with new creators, especially in the younger generation. You can check out his seminars and his books like We Want to Live on his community websites, and there are plenty of videos on YouTube. I suggest you look at the full seminars and really listen to what he has to say and educate yourself. There's a lot of good, useful information and knowledge that he has to share. He's really excellent in this topic and quite educated. And I think if you're open-minded, you'll learn so much from him, especially in the raw meat, raw primal, all of that. So I highly suggest he's a good man in that aspect. That's all I know. You know, I haven't met him personally, so I can only say so much, but I highly suggest you research him. But we're here to rate his facial attractiveness. So let's get to it. So I only have one front view that I could find that was usable for this analysis. Fortunately, it's kind of undistorted and it's straight on, so this will work. However, he's quite old in this. He still looks really good, though. You can see how bright his eyes are, and from what I could find, this picture or this photo is unedited. Okay, so let's get into the front view ratios. And at the end of this video, you're going to see his total score from a 1 through 10, or a 0 through 10. So really quickly, put a comment, or don't. Tell me what you think his score will be. Okay, I'm curious to see what you guys will think. I mean, it could be like a 4. If you do that, you guys are really stupid. If you do like a 7, you know, different scoring. So this is his harmony that we're gonna review. Okay, not his dimorphism, other things, height, voice, but all that. So on his front view ratio, his lowest score is a 1.21 out of 10. It's his one eye apart test, which he fails, unfortunately, slightly out of the ideal range. However, his eye spacing looks just fine visually. So this is really just the measurements, and this is the landmarking stuff. That's what I'm kind of working with this app to get more consistent with. But you can see, like, if you just looked at his face without measuring it, his eye spacing looks fine. It actually looks ideal. So a 1.21 out of 10 is really strange. Some ratings that do make sense, though, definitely are his lips. His lower lip to upper lip ratio is a 3.04 out of 10, out of the ideal range on this side. And you can see what's going on. They're kind of thin. They're kind of low. His nose to position is a 3.19 out of 10. It droops a little bit. This is common with older people. Top third, 3.46 out of 10. So he has a larger forehead, of course, but, you know, being older, the forehead kind of matures out and the forehead stretches back. So a lot of different things. This is kind of the age. I mean, in his prime, he would have a much higher score, but he still is doing really well here. And remember that what he said is his body fat percentage is much higher, even though he looks leaner. He looks like a 17% body fat, even though he's like 36 to 46, he said, because his body's turned into more fat, but usable fat, and that takes over 20 years. You know, these are things he said over the time, and if you're really curious, then feel free to leave a comment, and I'll try to get back to you with the exact times that he said these things. So his face definitely looks interesting. It looks slightly different. Now, I did notice a little bit of this reptilian look, which I don't like. You know, is he a reptile? Is he trying to indoctrinate something? Is his father actually a Freemason or something? So this is all the skepticism that I would look into. You know, don't take one person and just make it the end all be all. But since it is relevant to his facial attractiveness and his looks, he does look a little bit like a reptile with this nose and mouth, like the lips pointing down. If you also think so, I mean, leave a comment I'm curious to what you guys think, really, on what this picture. I mean, he is a good-looking man, for sure. But there's just a certain look which is kind of interesting. His other ones are his 5.8 out of 10 is his total facial width to height ratio. Yeah, it's just slightly out. Jaw frontal angle, 6.2. Ipsilateral alar angle is a 6.63 out of 10 by itself. Mouth corner position, 6.64. So he actually, okay, he does have a lot of 10 on 10s. These are ideal. That's great. Yeah, this is weird. This is the rating. I mean, that's, you can see how his face is not symmetrical. 9.7 degrees on one side and then 1.7, but that's also the placements, that's the landmarks. But yeah, this is his front view ratio, and since we don't have the side views, we can't really see his key strengths and key weaknesses. However, faceiq Labs just added the your plan and potential. So this is really interesting, and of course it has its warning on here. So you can read through the terms, which I have, and then you can agree to this. But then you have to add the side profile to get this. And I don't have an accurate enough one to actually make it worth it. So this is Aajonus Vonderplanitz facial attractiveness. Aajonus gets a 6.79 out of 10. Great harmony, top 5.8%. 1 in 17.4 people. You can see it on the chart here. That is really good, honestly, for this is one of his, this is the like 2010 plus, I would say this photo's in, maybe a little earlier, but this is really good, honestly. Top 5.8%. I think it's quite accurate too, between the 6.4 to 6.8 range. I think this is quite accurate, and even in his prime, he was past a 7 with his facial harmony. I think this is a great scoring. His side profile from seminars I've seen and like cuts, it's above a 5.5, so maybe around the 6 range as well. So his total harmony scoring, including the side, just a rough estimate, would be about a 6.5, which I think is really great. And there's the answer. By the way, guys, if you want to use the app for yourself, faceiq Labs, then I have a 20% off coupon, actually. LookLogix. I'll put a link in the description in the pinned comment. If you use it, make sure you use the referral code, and it'll help me out, and it'll help you guys out.